Hi, poetry lovers. This is Bella Cohen. Welcome to my channel, Bella Poetry Presents. I'm sorry that it's not a fancy channel. I do it by myself at this point. My daughter used to help me, so it looked more professional. But I think that the content is more important. And my goal is to introduce you to unknown poets in this new series, Poets at Random. Last week we discussed the poetry of Wisława Szymborski, who is a Polish poet, and I read some of her poetry to you. And today we will discuss the life and the poetry of another poet, a Scottish poet this time, Carol Ann Duffy. And I will read a couple of her poems as well. So let's start. Carol Ann Duffy is a Scottish poet and playwright. She was born on December 23rd, 1955. She is a daughter of two Glasgow working-class radicals. The eldest of five siblings, she has four brothers whose names are Frank, Adrian, Eugene, and Tim. The family moved to Stafford, England when Duffy was 6 years old. Her father worked as an electrician there. She was a passionate reader from a very early age and always wanted to be a writer, producing poems from the age of 11. When she was 16 years old, Carol Ann Duffy met Adrian Henry, who was 39 years much older than her at the time, one of the Liverpool poets, and she decided she wanted to be with him. They lived together for 10 years until they split in 1982 due to his unfaithfulness. Duffy later met poet Jackie Kay, a woman with whom she had a 15-year relationship. During her relationship with Kay, Duffy gave birth to a daughter, Ella. She was born in 1995, and her biological father is fellow poet Peter Benson. In 1983, Carol Ann Duffy won the National Poetry Competition. She worked as a poetry critic for The Guardian from 1988 to 1989 and was editor of the poetry magazine titled Ambit. In 1996, she was appointed as a lecturer in poetry Manchester Metropolitan University and later became creative director for its writing program. She was appointed poet laureate in May 2009 and her term expired in 2019. She was the first female poet laureate, the first Scottish-born poet, and the first openly lesbian poet to hold this position. Duffy had a strong following among young Britons, partially because her poetry collection, Meantime, was included in British A-level curriculum. Duffy is best known for writing love poems that often take the form of a monologue. Although she knew she was a lesbian since her days at St. Joseph Convent School, her early love poems give no indication of her homosexuality. The object of love in her verses is someone whose gender is not specified. With her 1993 collection, Meantime, and 1994 selected poems, she would begin to also write about queer love. Her original collection of poems, The World's Wife, received high acclaim from critics. The poems in this collection are all told from the points of view of the women behind famous male figures. In 2015, Duffy was elected as Honorary Fellow of the British Academy. Carol Ann Duffy lives in Manchester today. She is professor and creative director of the Writing School in Manchester Metropolitan University, where she teaches on the poetry route of the MFA and MA in creative writing and is creative director of citywide, national, and international literary projects. And today we will read a couple of her poems. The first poem is called Valentine. Not a red rose or a satin heart, I give you an onion. It is a moon wrapped in brown paper. It promises light like the careful undressing of love. Here, it will blind you with tears like a lover. It will make your reflection a wobbling photo of grief. I am trying to be truthful. Not a cute card or a kissogram. I give you an onion, its fierce kiss will stay on your lips, possessive and faithful as we are, for as long as we are. Take it. Its platinum loops shrink to a wedding ring, if you like. Lethal, its scent will cling to your fingers, cling to your knife. The second poem by Carol Ann Duffy is called Tea. I like pouring you tea, lifting the heavy pot and tipping it up so the fragrant liquid steams in your china cup. Or when you're away or at work, I like to think of your cupped hands as you sip of the faint half smile of your lips. I like the questions, sugar, milk, and the answers I don't know yet by heart. For I see your soul in your eyes, and I forget. Jasmine, gunpowder, Assam, Earl Grey, Ceylon. I love tea's names. Which tea would you like, I say? But it's any tea for you, please, any time of day. As the women harvest the slopes for the sweetest leaves on Mountain Wu-Yi, and I am your lover, smitten, straining your tea. I personally like this poetry, and I hope you did too. Please don't forget to subscribe and to like and to leave your comments. I'd love to know what you think about the poetry of Carol Ann Duffy. Thank you very much for listening, and please visit us next week for another segment of Poetry at Random. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.